Good morning, my name is Kirsty Dignam and I'm here to look at the collective energies. I was going to say this week, but it just feels like the collective energies full stop. In all honesty, I didn't think I would do another video. And this morning it's very interesting to hold space for the energy that is coming up. On the one hand, I feel as if I will be speaking about the same things. And that causes some frustration and almost a degree of apathy to what is going on around me. On a human level, I feel as if we've got past what is occurring right now and the same patterns that are emerging. However, on a soul level, I recognise this is part of my own training and part of the very thing I'm going to speak of today. The need for compassion for what people are going through and the recognition that we all grow at different times. This morning, having dreamt last night of a baby that was being fed with a resuscitator in the room to bring life back if needed, I found myself struggling in my dream time to feed this baby through a tube. It wasn't getting enough. The amount of food that this child was getting was limited. And it was milk that I was trying to feed this child, the mother's milk. The very thing that keeps us alive, the very connection to the earth that we walk. And to cut a long story short, eventually I got a cup and moulded the cup so that this child could get what it needed. And I could see the resonance to myself in particular, but also collectively, about being tube fed what we need when actually we're hungry for a lot more justice, a lot more growth, a lot more answers, a lot more change. And that comes from what we decide to feed upon. I was having a conversation with my friend the other day about the light and the dark and the middle ground. Good milk, bad milk. All milk, all things have the potential to help us grow. It's what we do with it. So I've written down a few things today, which is very much unlike me, but the information coming in is extreme. There is a lot of information coming in collectively from ourselves, but also from outside of ourselves, and we can almost lose stock of the underlying message. So it felt very relevant to bullet point what was coming through today. It does almost feel as if we have gone backwards. However, that isn't the truth. In reality, or rather my own reality, which feels poignant, what I am seeing is as restrictions are lifted, we are being shown just how imprisoned we are, which is to be expected going into next year. We go into the energy of the lovers and the devil, and we are being asked to look at where we hold ourselves back. And I have found, particularly over the last few weeks, almost an addictive nature to focus on the negative. Now, whilst I am not condoning we put our head in the sand, whilst I am not questioning its presence, what I'm suggesting here is a choice, the other aspect of the lovers and the devil, a choice to focus on what we can actually do about it. And sometimes that may be nothing or no thing. Sometimes things need to run their course, and it is our place here to hold space for it to feel what we are feeling, to allow that emotional energy to come up through us. We often talk about the middle ground, and the guidance that I've received is we are the middle ground. We are going to be surrounded by aspects that are light and dark, shadow, and it is life. It is the polarity of life. It is us as the people walking it, as the energies that hold space for this, to transmute that, to be the middle ground. And we can only do that from a place of peace ourselves. What I am finding of late is knee-jerk reactions very tempted to say again, but that's my own knee-jerk reaction, and the need for compassion with this. My own guidance this morning, I didn't want to do the video. I didn't want to go back into that energy, and that feels very collective. I didn't want to go backwards. But my own guidance this morning was there's a big difference between meditation and switching off. And the truth of the matter is we can't switch off our feelings. We're here to feel them. We're here to be aware of injustice. We're here to be aware of pain, to strengthen ourselves on a soul level, to keep bringing it back to the centre, to keep bringing it back to a place of love and peace and acceptance. Not acceptance condoning, but acceptance that this is occurring. Only from that angle, without our own views and beliefs, can we actually see if there's anything we need to do about it. It is down to us to convert anger to love. It is down to us to be the alchemist of what is occurring. I'm seeing many, many posts in relation to the Lion's Gate, many, many posts in relation to what Leo energy is, and it's different for everybody. You know, if you cage a wild animal, they are going to act out, they are going to attack. And what I'm seeing around me is many people caged in their own ways, be it their own physical limitations, be it what's going on around them, be it their own beliefs. My own included this morning when I didn't want to do the video. And it's up to us to open those doors, those portals within us, not just on the Lion's Gate or specific dates, but in every waking moment. It is up to us to walk through to what it is we are trying to achieve. So if your goal for the world is peace, find peace. If it is love, find love. If it is to transmute things into beauty, then transmute things into beauty. Look at what you are consuming. Look at what you are putting into your body. The other thing I've noticed of late is the repetitive suggestion that the earth is angry, that the earth, all the fires are a result of the earth transmuting. And whilst I'm not doubting that there is some truth in that, again, it is about bringing it back to the self and taking responsibility. We are part of the earth. We are not just in nature, we are nature. We are a microorganism in our own right. Imagine millions and millions and millions of people going through whatever it is they are going through, acting out on that, and the impact that that has on the earth. There are enough studies out there that show by finding peace within, it has a ripple effect. And we're talking scientific analysis here. Yes, the earth is going through a process. The earth always goes through a process. So are we. Bring it back. Bring it back rather than pointing fingers at the earth doing this or someone doing this. What are we experiencing also? What do we need to do? So going back to the lion archetype, I did Dispatcher yesterday, which is a sacred prayer bundle, teeth, about alignment and what we call Aini, giving and receiving, and the flow of life, with prayers obviously for the world to come, but also gratitude with what we have learned. And what really came through was very ancient energy, from dinosaurs to dragons, deep, deep connection to the ley lines within the earth now rising. And when we talk about lions, we can relate that back to the Lyrans and very ancient energy, and that is what we are feeling right now. But I urge you to look at what you believe a lion to be. Yes, there are aspects of strength in the lion and roaring and standing up for what is right and attacking and all that kind of thing. But the Leo archetype and the lions and the Lyrans themselves are very much about courage, to feel love and to hold space for the light. When I ask you to look at the archetype of the Leo, I'm also asking you to look at the archetype of the divine feminine, of Earth herself and our connection to her. On the one hand, absolutely, there is a time to roar, there is a time to rise. There is great strength in gentility. And for me, it is this portal, this space that is often misunderstood. When we look at the phrase in action, it can often be believed that nothing is being done. As a midwife, one of the greatest skills that is taught, that is learned, is the ability to hold space, to act when needed, but to trust in the process. And this comes with inaction. It doesn't mean that we are not doing. There is an awful lot of pain that is trying to be avoided, and that can be avoided by lashing out. That can be avoided by doing what we believe is right to change a situation. But it is with all the love in my heart that I say change happens. With or without our input, change happens. Now, I'm not suggesting we turn a blind eye. What I am suggesting is that we embrace we are part of a co-collaboration, and that we hold space for change that naturally occurs by letting go of the things that can stand in the way of that, including our own beliefs and judgments now. This morning, my late cat's ashes have been delivered. We have waited 2 months. I wasn't even aware he was still in the freezer, on deep freeze. I thought he had been cremated, but actually this morning his ashes have turned up. Before my cat passed, we're going back to the Leo emphasis here, and the masculine. He was blind and would often walk into things and cause damage to himself. Today I am laying to rest that blindness of the masculine. And I urge that we do that collectively in our actions. Really look at where they're coming from. Have we given them a rationale to justify them? Is it what is being asked of us? I'm just looking at the list of the bullet point energy things that have been written. So, today my husband went back to the gym for the first time in some time. And he is at the point of almost rehabilitating his strength. And that feels like where we are all collectively. My husband is also a Leo. 2 Leos living together. Now, if you can work with that energy, I think you can work with anything. But my husband is also a Leo. And today he went to the gym. And he was asking me about his heart rate and whether it was normal. And what came through was, what determines our strength and stamina is our ability for our heartbeat to return to normal on a physical level, but also on a soul and spiritual level. What determines your spiritual strength right now, and believe me, we are all being trained. What determines your spiritual strength right now is your ability to return back to alignment, back to your own heart's beat, back to your connection to the earth. So I urge you to look at that over the next few weeks. When we react to something, do we hold on to it? Do we fester? Do we allow it to build like an uncontrollable fire? Do we lash out? How quickly can we return to our balance and our aini, our divine flow? That is one of the greatest strengths of the Leo. Agility, determination, commitment, and a return. A lion will run and chase and hunt, but then they will rest and play also. What I'm noticing over the last few weeks is many incredible lights, incredible individuals almost being consumed with a need to fight the darkness, with a need to solely embrace that and solely observe that and solely work with that, albeit with their own light. But what I'm also finding is a lot of these individuals being drained, being pulled down, or being burnt out from their own actions. And again, I urge you, for everything that you see, it is not about ignoring it. It is about finding the beauty, seeking it out, digging for it, roaring for it within, but opening our heart to the pain that is occurring so that we can receive the love behind it in our actions. Balance it. For everything that isn't pleasant, make something pleasant. This is how we transmute the energy. And it is a war, it is a battle, it is hard to keep shining the light, to keep going, to be strong, to refuse to see the bad in everything, to find the good. But that is the Leo archetype, coming from a Leo. The other thing my husband mentioned when he was at the gym, I realise we're on 15 minutes already. The other thing my husband mentioned when he was at the gym was that he met up with some elderly people that have been there all this time, that went to the gym when he used to go. And I found that really comforting, that the elders are still doing what they were doing. They're still committed, they're still structured, they're still keeping up their spiritual strength. And again, that goes back to that original message. For the elders, either those that are already elders in what they do and what they practice and the tools that they use, or those that are becoming elders, keep going, keep doing what you're doing, keep that spiritual strength, stay committed to the dreams that you're trying to bring in for the world. That felt very poignant, the dreams for the world. I think sometimes we can make them very much about the individual and lose sight as to whether they're for the greatest good for the world. We all have egos. We all have ambition, and they are healthy. Yeah, they are, well, the very confidence behind a Leo energy. Do they align with the world? Do they align with what you want for the world? Again, if you want peace, are you speaking peace in your words and your actions and to yourself? If you want love, are you speaking love in your words and your actions to yourself? It really feels as if we're being asked to take unconditional love to the next level, but to start with ourselves. Yes, I mean self-care, but also things like having the unconditional love to hold space for everything that is occurring. And yes, I mean everything. Now that is going to cause some knee-jerk reactions. It does with me. I'm not suggesting we like things. What I'm suggesting is we open up. We open up to what is going on. Only from a higher level will we be able to transform this now. Is there anything else? I've mentioned the ancient energies rising. Oh yes, the Lion's Gate, the portal, the doorway to the next energy. Much as it's very relevant, I've got a fly around me, much as it's very relevant, there are always doorways. There are always portals. Energy is constantly moving. They are not related just to dates. They are not related just to our energy centres or the past or the future or any of that. There are certain points that are more heightened, but they can become more heightened with our own awareness as well. We all are a portal. We all are a doorway. Every second, every moment is a chance to move forward, to step through into a new energy. For me, the portal is very much the void, the place of creation, the space between the in-breath or the out-breath, the crowning, if you will, that occurs not only with the baby's head but our own sovereignty, that being stretched and just sitting in that stretch. You know, no matter how uncomfortable it is, no matter how painful it can be, obviously assessing our needs and giving ourselves what we need in that moment, but being in that portal, feeling that stretch, allowing things to move without causing damage. What I would suggest is to make the most of these portals, to take time and really go into the void within, not with actions, but by being in the present moment. Only then can we look at what we're filling the gaps with. Only then can we see if it's patterns from the past, or if we are just allowing ourselves to be held by the mother, knowing that we will get the milk that we need, knowing that our needs will be met, knowing Pacha Mama knows what she's doing. that we are gardeners of Eden, but not Eden itself. And really being aware of what we are planting, how we are tending to the garden. So with that in mind, I am going to do some cards, but I'm not going to spend long. And it felt very poignant to use the Dreams of Gaia tarot. Just show you the deck there. When we align with the Dreams of Gaia, we align with our individual hopes and aspirations anyway, on a soul level. What mother doesn't want the best for her children? But it is aligning with her dreams. I find the irony of Pachamama incredible. I find the very fact that our existence depends on a bumblebee, one of the smallest creatures, in order to have all the fruits and flowers. And you know, the bumblebee works with the figure 8 and works with the cube, and just there's incredible medicine to be learnt from the bumblebee. But underneath it all, bumblebee, not fly, underneath it all, but then fly as well, underneath it all, we've been given a life that is incredibly important. You know, we are an incredibly important species, but even we depend on the smallest of creatures. You know, if there is anything else in life that kind of puts the ego in check, it's that. Very much like the lion and the lamb, very much like the lion and the mouse, very much recognizing our strength depends on gentility in order to pollinate beauty. Okay, cards for this week, please. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, overall. There are a lot of dragon energies. It doesn't surprise me, dragons very much came up in Dispatcher yesterday, and for me personally, the dragon line is the ley lines of the earth. It is the rose lineage, it is the divine feminine, and we are really being asked to connect to that within us this week. So today we have the Ace of Cups. Oh, don't know if you can see that. And it is a dragon. The dragon of water, looking at our emotions in a new way now for the strength that they actually are. Rather than running from them, connecting to them as a vessel for source, as a vessel for source. When we use our physical body to breathe, to really experience what is occurring, it is that relationship that brings about the answers needed. So for example, when we go into our pain, provided we feel safe enough to do so and our needs are met and we are held, when we go into our pain, it is by going in, our endorphins are released, our serotonin, our natural painkillers. Very much the flow of the universe, very much. So the Ace of Cups, the dragon, really suggests that you tend to your own needs by embracing your own emotions now. So Tuesday, the 3rd of August, we have 6, 7, 8 of Pentacles. What I'm doing as I look at that card is trying to think back to the original message that came up with the cards, and it was to take things at face value. I felt a real urge to think back, okay, and Tuesday feels really poignant to know that we have been here before. We have the tools to move forward. We have done the work. Excuse me. We have done the work. We only ever reflect back when there's times of doubt, when we need to bring forward that gratitude, when there's something to be learnt. But the message at the beginning of these cards, the one thing I needed to look back on was to take things at face value now, to see things for what they are. So this morning I did have a knee-jerk reaction. I did lack compassion. I did think, have we not done this already? I did think all of this fighting, this arguing, we talk about love and yet we do the opposite. And there was a real anger building up in me, a real frustration, a real, what is the point? But taking that at face value, looking at what I needed to do about that, have compassion. Have compassion to know that I have been there and I have done the work. There will always be work to do as part of the journey. So is everyone else on their own level, seeing it for face value. And this morning it was pain. There was a lot of pain and a lot of work to be done with that pain. Hey, I'm a midwife. That is what I do. So, really doing the work, really reflecting on the tools that you have, but really seeing things at face value now. Sometimes as our consciousness expands, so do our excuses. That's what I hear. We can find reason for things and for this and for that. And then we start to build all these ideas of what we should do. And it's bring it back, see things at face value, Tuesday in particular, because that's where the work is. It can be that we feel pain and that we feel injustice, and that doesn't need a reason. It needs to be felt in order to know what to truly do about it. We actually water down our strength when we give it reasons, when we give it explanations. We water down our feelings. We subdue the divine feminine. We subdue the dragon. We hold back our emotions, and that causes more pain than any dis-ease in the world. So on the Wednesday, perception. Now these cards are not in relation to the normal tarot, so even though we can see 21 here, it isn't in relation to the normal tarot. However, in the normal tarot it would be the world card, and isn't the world just built on our own perception? Isn't reality itself based around our own perception? It isn't until we give something meaning, name, thought, labels, that it even takes form. That's some incredible power. Take responsibility for that on the Wednesday in particular. Stand in your truth. See things for what they actually are. And there are things that are very, very dark out there. Things that need to stop out there. Things that have served their course. That's down to us to draw the line now. That's down to us to stand in our own truth. So there are people who are here to fight for a cause. There are people who are here to hold space. We have so many team members doing their thing. Standing in the truth of that on the Wednesday in particular. On the Thursday, the Three of Pentacles. What are we laying to rest? What are we planting here? I love the fact that this character is almost like a figure of Pan, even the devil. I find it very ironic and informative that the coronavirus has been called the pandemic. Related to the masculine. God related to the trickster, related to the devil that we are all stepping into next year onwards. So, how do you want next year to be? I've just noticed this character is actually feeding the seeds. I don't know if you can see that. With blood. Really connecting to your bloodline. Really connecting to the ley lines of the earth, really looking at what loss, what bloodshed is going to feed the seeds for next year. Is it going to be war with ourselves and each other? Is it going to be the release of everything? Really, really looking at what we are feeding the seeds with, particularly on Thursday. Because there's potential for great beauty there. We're surrounded by great beauty. It depends, like the squirrel, what it is we are holding on to, what it is we are harvesting now. On the Friday we have the Sage. I think that card pretty much speaks for itself. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, so what I'm clearly getting is we may not always see the sage that we are. This morning I didn't want to do this video at all, no way, shape or form. I didn't want to be involved in it, and I tried to question it, saying, does it need to be done? No one's going to watch it, what difference does it make? But actually, when I tuned into what I was feeling and asked what needed to be done, how I could help, it was the video. And we may not always see the wisdom within us, we may not always see the sage that we are and the light that we bring, but just like this card, take time, focus, really, really focus. What is the message underneath it all? What is the wisdom you are trying to bring forward? On the Friday. Every day, but definitely on the Friday. On the Saturday we have the Nine of Wands and the King of Water on the Sunday, and the reason I bring those two together is it feels like a nice balance there. So the Nine of Wands is very defensive, tired, worn out. Me this morning, and a lot of us collectively, but in the very centre, in his sacral, in his heart, in his hands, in his third eye, there is light. There is a rose, a white, pure rose. There is love there. There is growth there. You know, we can look back and we can feel as if we've done this before, and the obvious thing is we have. So if we're going backwards, if we're reflecting, what is the gem we are trying to do and find there? Yeah, what is it that is drawing us back? There's something there that has been forgotten. The Nine of Wands here very much speaks of the white rose, very much speaks of the light. I have noticed that over the last few weeks. Many, many light workers, which we are all light workers, forgetting the light. I want to put them both together, the King of Water as well, because the King of Water is very much in tune and at flow with his own emotions, his own cycles and his divine feminine. So we have two masculine energies here for this weekend in particular, and it feels very much almost like letting the emotions come up, letting the fire, the hurt, yes, the hurt, the pain come up in the Nine of Wands, so that we can feel those emotions, because we are strong enough to hold space for this now. We are strong enough to feel these emotions and allow them to flow through us without giving them a story or an identity or a thank you adding to it. So overall, we have the Hero card, which is the Knight of Wands, I do believe. The hero's journey. The very story that many films, many archetypes, many scripts, many tales of old are based upon. The hero and the fight for freedom. Is that not where we are? And the growth. And this is a story that will be passed down to our ancestors, and they will use it as a structure, as a framework, as an archetypal energy to work with. So I urge us again collectively to look at the story we are handing down. I urge us again to look at the heroes that we are and our own definition of hero, just like our own definition of the Leo and our own definition of the divine feminine and our connection here. A hero knows what war he is fighting. You know, he knows whether it's an internal battle or an external battle, and I urge us collectively to know the difference now, because only then will we really know the path that we are on. Only then will we really know the storyline. I was just about to say I don't think there's anything else. However, I did pull one more card, and it is the dragon again, and it is the Ace of Pentacles. In every moment we are offered a new beginning. It's up to us to see it as that. It's up to us to learn from our experiences and our mistakes. I want to say, and there's a fly on there, and our mistakes, and move forward from that by connecting to what is actually needed from us, from the earth, for the greater good. And that can be intense, that can be powerful, that can rip our very hearts open and our souls. But we've got it. We've got that strength. Remember who you came from. You know, remember your ancestors. Remember your bloodline. Let that feed your growth now. Remember your place here on the earth. Let that, in that Three of Pentacles, feed your growth. Let that blood be what feeds your very place here. Let that be the collaboration now that you are working towards, the seeds that you are planting for the future. Don't imprison yourself. Release your own chains and feel into what is going on. See things for face value without the explanations, and be brave enough with the heart of a lion to hold space for this now. Take care. I don't know if I'll be seeing you next week or doing a reading or what will happen, because I'm guided from the earth and it will be whatever she needs. Take care.